In the small, forgotten town of Eldridge, there was an old, decrepit mansion that had stood abandoned for decades. The townsfolk whispered tales of the mansion's dark past, but no one dared to venture near it. That is, until a group of curious teenagers decided to explore its haunted halls one stormy night. As they stepped inside, the air grew cold, and the sound of their footsteps echoed through the empty corridors. The walls seemed to close in on them, and the flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows that danced along the walls. The group split up, each taking a different path through the mansion. Sarah, the bravest of the group, found herself drawn to a dusty old library. As she scanned the shelves, she noticed a peculiar book with a worn leather cover. She opened it, and the pages seemed to come alive, revealing the mansion's dark history. The book told of a family that had once lived there, driven mad by the whispers of unseen entities. Suddenly, the whispers began, soft at first, but growing louder and more insistent. Sarah's heart raced as she tried to close the book, but it wouldn't budge. The shadows in the room grew darker, and she felt a cold hand on her shoulder. She turned, but no one was there. Meanwhile, in another part of the mansion, Mark and Emily stumbled upon a hidden staircase leading to the basement. The air grew colder with each step they took, and the whispers seemed to follow them. As they reached the bottom, they found themselves in a dimly lit room filled with old, rusted chains and shackles. The whispers grew louder, and the shadows seemed to come alive, wrapping around them like tendrils. Mark and Emily tried to escape, but the shadows held them tight. They could feel the cold, clammy hands of the unseen entities pulling them deeper into the darkness. Back in the library, Sarah finally managed to close the book, but the whispers didn't stop. She ran through the mansion, searching for her friends, but all she found were empty rooms and more shadows. The whispers grew louder, and she could feel the cold hands reaching for her. Desperate to escape, Sarah ran towards the front door, but it slammed shut before she could reach it. The shadows closed in, and the whispers became deafening. She could feel the cold hands pulling her into the darkness, and she knew there was no escape. The next morning, the townsfolk found the mansion's doors wide open, but there was no sign of the teenagers. The whispers continued to haunt the mansion, and the shadows grew darker with each passing day. The townsfolk knew better than to venture near the mansion, for they knew that once the shadows claimed you, there was no escape.